Hello, it's Delusion Dispeller. This is One Insidious Addiction, People Addiction, Part 7. I'm reading from this book, How to Break Your Addiction to a Person by Howard M. Halpern. Copyright 1995. Today we're going to be talking about self delusion and addictive behaviors. So, sorry, I have a cold. Try to get through this. Okay. In relationships, often we try to keep ourselves hanging in these relationships that are really unpleasant and really addictive and really unhealthy for us. And doing that is like fooling yourself into believing that you're happy, trying to ignore the pain and the sadness, and trying to ignore your disappointment. It's almost like taking a painkiller rather than finding out where the source of the pain and the illness is to begin with. It covers it over, but it doesn't truly get at the root or heal things. So, we're going to talk about how you do these things, how you gloss over, how you ignore the pain that you're in to stay in the abusive, unhealthy relationship. So, first of all, we rationalize. What is rationalization? That means we try to make excuses for the person, why they're acting the way they are. It's not that they don't love me, they're just terrified of commitment. Um, the person that is rationalizing will try to say, well, it doesn't matter that they don't show that they care. I know they do because they do such and such. But maybe you're the type of person that your love language is to be shown in other ways that somebody cares for you, maybe hugs and kisses, and they're not giving that to you. So in my case, the person I was with, I'm going to call her C because I don't want to say her name, but C decided that she never wanted to let me into her life again emotionally. And even though that was what I needed, that's what I wanted. I needed a close friend at that time in my life. She out now told me, I'm not that type of person. I don't want hugs. I don't want to be close to somebody in that way. I just want to do ministry stuff with you, have conversations, joke around, but I don't want this close bond with you. And some people don't. And you know what? If you have that need, then with that person, you're not going to get that need met. And you owe it to go find somebody that can meet that need, or you owe it to yourself to stay in that relationship knowing that this is their boundary and this is their comfort level, and not trying to violate that by trying to get what you want out of somebody that cannot give it to you. All right. Idealization. We get into these relationships where we kind of look at all of the good points and ignore the things that are not so good. Like you say, I admire how strong they are. They're like a rock. Even though when you come to them for affection and love, they're saying, I'm not going to baby you. Get over yourself. Why are you so needy? Why are you so clingy? But you know you need somebody that is open when you come to them for that hug or for that affection. And all they're saying is, I'm not going to placate you. I'm not going to give you that. That's just going to make you weak and wimpy. I'm not going to do that for you. You don't need that person then. Go find somebody that can give you what you need and meet those needs. One of C's sayings, a popular saying she used to say to me was, I'm not going to pet you. That was when I would try to get her to relate in an emotional way to me or talk about more deep things in our conversations. I'm not going to pet you. When a certain incident happened where I was actually physically at her house, I had left my family to go and visit her and bond with her. And I was a very huggy, touchy, affectionate person. And at first, so was she. She would give me hugs every night before bed and say, hey, girlie, have a good night's sleep. Just friendly stuff. But then one night I walked over to her to say good night, and she said, she like pushed me away, kind of like not physically pushed, but she backed up and went like this. And she's like, you don't understand. I don't think I can ever hug you again. I don't think I can ever, get close to you like that again. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We're not doing anything wrong. We're just saying goodnight. She's like, no, it's not like that, girlie. You don't understand. I don't know what it is. I don't think I can get close to you again like that. And I'm like, okay. I went to bed going, whatever. I guess she got weirded out by a hug and a good night. I mean, I thought she was okay with that. I was raised in a family where that was typical. You hugged and kissed on the cheek and said good night. There was nothing to it. She just all of a sudden got weirded out by it. And then she started talking about starving the spirit of addiction that linked me to her. She was really into this kind of if you think I'm into this whole thing about things are controlled by spirits, like, demonic spirits or godly spirits, she was way overboard with it, okay? She believed that when I came to visit her, that I brought an owl with me that was watching her walk through the house and keeping an eye on her. There's a creature, this owl looking thing, this bird that's watching me. Okay, anyway, so I was like, okay, fine, I won't hug you then, no big deal. So basically, I kind of justified it by saying, well, okay, that's her feeling, whatever. I'm not going to force her to hug me if she doesn't want to hug me. It's just kind of weird. And I didn't do anything to cause this that I know of. She told me I didn't do anything. She just didn't know why. Okay. But I had that need at that time. I was very hurting about a lot of things, and I needed somebody to be there affectionately for me, give me a hug, pat on the back, or something. Well, and she did at first, but then all of a sudden she couldn't. So it's kind of this pain of rejection in me. And I tried and tried to say, well, maybe I did something. Maybe it's my fault. So I rationalized and I idealized her as being the one that was in the right and me that was in the wrong. And I still, to this day, don't really understand what I did. Um, as time went on, I began to realize that this person was very hurt herself, very violated in many ways in her life, and was not comfortable with affection and had been just hugging me goodnight because that's what I expected. That's what I was used to. But it wasn't in her to do that. So she felt kind of forced into it. And then all of a sudden it just became very uncomfortable. Nowadays, I'm not the type of person that's real huggy like that anymore, unless I really know you. But back then, I was very insecure and I needed a friend that was like not going to make a huge deal of something. But she was not that friend that could do that. All right. I always looked at her like, oh, well, she's strong, because she doesn't need affection. There's something wrong with me. But there really was not anything wrong with me. I just was raised a different way. I was raised that giving somebody a hug or talking to them about deep things was a way to show a connection, a bond, a closeness, a trust. And she had been violated in so many ways in her life that she didn't have that in her. And her parents weren't like that. Her father was more than her mother. They weren't touchy feely, huggy, holdy type people. Not like I grew up with. So, anyways, I just finally realized that in that case it was just two different type of upbringings. It never dawned on me though that maybe while she was hugging me at first and saying goodnight, that she was doing that because that was something that she knew I was used to, not something she was comfortable with. She felt like forced into it. That's not good. You don't want to make somebody feel like that. And I didn't really make her feel that way, but we had conversations about our pasts and our upbringings. And I think she just concluded, because she was such a people watcher, that, oh, in order to have her as a friend, I need to do this. Kind of like my husband was. In order to keep girlfriends, he felt he had to give physically into the relationship in a way he wasn't really wanting to do. So, not healthy. Okay. Also, there's something called unfounded hope. You just keep hoping that things are going to get better. They call it digging through a crate of manure trying to find the pony within. Um, you do sometimes have to go through a lot of garbage to get to the gem. But in a relationship, you should not have to lie to yourself and tell yourself constantly, oh, this is going to be better soon. This is going to happen. We're going to change this. He's going to change. She's going to change. While you're digging through the manure looking for this pony, and all you find is manure. It's time eventually to say, this did not work out. This is not going to work out. It's not going to change. It's not going to get better. It's just not. They don't have it in them. They don't want to get better. They don't want to deal with their issues. So then it is time to just finally say, I'm not doing this anymore. And every time they give you what we used to call a nugget, oh, let's just talk and we'll work this out. Don't you worry. It gets you holding on a little bit tighter, a little bit longer to something you really need to let go of. So, in one instance in my relationship with C, she made it clear that she had absolutely no intention of being any different than she was. At that point, I should have hit the X sign and gone out, not stayed in the relationship, believing that somehow I could change this person into being the way that was comfortable for me. She explained at one point that she had moved on and I needed to move on too, but I couldn't move on. I was addicted to this person. I was fascinated by listening to her teach the Bible or tell me about what the Holy Spirit revealed to her or whatever. So you have to be aware of the fact that you're telling yourself this little tiny message of this is the one and only person that can fulfill me. This is the best friend that I need. This is the husband that I have to have, and I will just die if I don't have this relationship. Stop holding on to unhealthy people and unhealthy things, thinking that somehow magically, or even with the help of God, that this person is going to stop being the person they are. Now, there are certain things people can change, and God can change people. But when it is an abusive situation or a neglectful situation, I personally don't believe God wants you to live your life with anything less than the abundance in your life that He died to give you. So you got to look at that and see, are you just hanging on to something to have something rather than the best of something that God has for you? So you need to look at your assumptions about relationships like, oh, everybody has one person. There's one person for everybody. If that was true, other people would not be happily married many times. Look at Liz Taylor, what, 7 husbands or 13 husbands or something like that. Now, I don't know how happy she was because I don't think she was a happy person in general, not deep down inside. And that was a Hollywood thing. So, you know, and a lot of times we think that because we love so deeply and we care so much and we put so much into a relationship that the other person is doing the same thing. And it's just not the case in many situations. You need to look at things realistically, step outside of yourself objectively, and look at what is it that you need, what is it you want from that relationship. And do you honestly think that that person you're with can and will give that to you within a certain period of time? It's good to set time limits. It doesn't mean you need to tell them that you're setting a time limit. Sometimes you can do that, but other times just within your head say, hey, I'm given this 6 months to a year to work out, and then I've got to move on. I can't keep doing this. So set yourself a time limit on how much longer you're going to put up with things, and then begin to start putting into play your way out. You need to have a plan B, escape route. So there are illusions that we create for ourselves that keep us tripped up, delusional about our situation, and keep us staying stuck in misery. And I don't believe that that's God's plan for anybody. So, in the next, I think it'll be number 8, part 8. We're going to be talking about how you get hooked onto somebody and into a certain relationship that is not healthy. So we'll see you on the next. Um, what am I trying to think? Insidious. I don't remember what the word was that I used, but relationship addictions that you get yourself into. We'll talk about how it happened in the first place. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.